All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for Up and Moving today. My name is Isaac, and I'm a graduate student in the Kinesiology and Integrative Physiology department here at Michigan Tech. And tonight's workout, we're going to focus on some strength training. So we're going to have a couple of strength training circuits, more or less using the full body. So we'll have some upper body exercises, some lower body exercises. We'll flip-flop between those. We'll keep moving the whole time. So just to give you a little overview of what we're going to be doing, we'll start with about 5-10 minute warm up, and then we'll get into our strength circuits where I'll show you a few different strength exercises and about 2 or 3 variations for each exercise so you can kind of fit it to the level of difficulty that you need. And then after we get through those exercises, we'll do a little cool down at the end. And as far as equipment for tonight's workout, what you will need is a stable chair. So something that you can lean on and support your weight with. I have got a backpack. This is probably going to be the main thing I'm using tonight. You can always throw books in this, cans of soup, water, bag of rice, anything to add some weight to this if you need to make an exercise more difficult. I've also got a little toolbox here, just another bag with some weight in it. And I've got a couple of dumbbells. If you have dumbbells, great. If you don't have dumbbells, you can grab a couple of shopping bags, a couple of Walmart bags work great. And you can just, again, stick cans of food or water in there, any kind of items, and basically create an improvised dumbbell. So that is everything that we'll need for tonight's workout. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into our warm-up here. And don't forget a water. Try to have a water with you too. We'll be taking some breaks here. I'll give you a second to catch your breath, and it's nice to have some water with you. All right, let's just start off with some knee hugs. So what you're gonna be doing is bringing that knee up to your chest and giving that knee a big hug. So we'll have several different movements that we're gonna work through during our warm up here, and each one of these movements we'll do for about 15-20 seconds or so. And these movements are just designed to get the different joints in our body moving, get the muscles warmed up. And at the end of this warm up here, your heart rate should be elevated, breathing a little bit harder. You feel ready to do a little bit more intense exercise. Good, let's jump into a butt kick now. So you're gonna be bringing your heels up to your butt, trying to kick yourself in the rear here. You can see I keep my knees right underneath my hips. So I'm getting a little stretch in the front of my leg, and I'm firing those hamstrings in the back of my leg. We'll get those warmed up. Looking good. Let's go ahead. We'll switch to a new movement. We're going to go to Frankenstein kicks, one of my favorites. So hands out in front like you're going to walk like Frankenstein. You're going to try to bring your toes up to your fingertips. Try to get your foot as high as you can, but you want to keep that knee nice and straight. So here we're kind of warming up those hips. We're getting the hamstrings, a little stretch in the back. And I'm just alternating between my legs. So I'm going to throw in, I've got a couple of new exercises today that I have not done in any of my workouts. So something new coming at you if you've been joining me for some of my strength workouts. Hopefully they're well received. We'll see how it goes. Good. All right, let's go with some arm circles. So I'm just going to step side to side to keep my body moving. And I'm just starting with circles forward with those arms. And as we go here and I loosen up, I'm going to try to make these circles a little bit bigger. And if you have any questions during the workout about any of the exercises, something hurts or something's burning in a place maybe you don't think it should be, any kind of question you have, go ahead and send it in the chat. And I'll try to keep my eyes on that. Let's go ahead and do circles backwards. Same thing, we're just switching directions. And also, I always love to get feedback on the workouts as well. If there's anything you'd like to do more of, something you really liked, something you didn't like, please let me know. And I'd like to integrate that into future workouts. Let's go ahead into arm swings in the front, so we'll kind of just shake it out. Just trying to get those hands as far back as you can when you reach back. Perfect. All right. Go into a new movement here. Going to get those feet a little wider than shoulder width. And I'm just going to lean from side to side. So I'm getting a little stretch on the inside of my leg. And I'm putting some weight over here on this leg that I'm leaning into. So I'm warming up my quads and my knees a little bit. Perfect. We're going to be doing lunges tonight. So this is a similar movement to what we're going to be getting into. So we'll make sure that those knees and all those muscles that are going to be involved are ready to go. You can see I'm just going back and forth. I like to lean forward a little bit on these. Good. Perfect. And now we're going to add in a little bit of a quarter, or almost like a hip hinge. Like you're going to reach down to your toes, but I want to keep my back nice and flat. So it's like a deadlift. And then when I come up to the top, I'm going to open up my arms, try to look at the ceiling and get a good extension in my back. And I'm going to come right back into that hip hinge and then extend. So down to those toes and up. But I'm really trying to move right now with those hips. So you can see I'm not bending down with my back. I'm pushing my hips backwards, keeping just a little bit of bend in my knees, but not a lot. And then opening up, kind of stretching out that back and getting a good extension. So this is somewhat of a primer for one of the exercises we're going to do tonight. So get it in your head that you want to move at that hip like a door hinge. Perfect. Couple more of these and then we'll switch it up. Good. All right. We're going to go with a side to side hop. So like you're a speed skater, you're getting those knees bent and you're jumping from side to side, really trying to drive off that floor and get a little bit of distance. And as you get warmed up, you can think about taking an even bigger hop as you go. We'll really try to fire up those glutes in your butt. We'll get those warmed up. And the heart rate should maybe be getting a little bit higher now. Breathing a little bit harder. This is kind of what we want. Don't worry, I'll give you a cool down before we get to the strength exercises. Perfect. And let's go ahead and we're going to switch into jumping jacks. So here's kind of a modified version, just kicking the foot out and hands up overhead. But if you can do a regular jumping jack or want to, go ahead, go into a regular jumping jack. We'll start to get those calves and our feet warmed up now. Breathe a little bit harder. We're almost at the end of the warm-up. Hang in there with me. Good, and let's speed the pace up a little bit if you can. We're gonna go for about 15 more seconds here. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Good. Warm-up's finished. Grab a drink. We'll catch our breath a little bit and calm down for a moment. Should be nice and warm at this point. And body feeling like it's ready to move some weights. So give us just a second here to catch your breath. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to start off with 2 exercises. And we're going to do these back to back. So we'll have a lower body exercise that we'll start with, and then we'll go to an upper body exercise. So the legs get a little bit of a break while we're working the upper body and vice versa. Because the goal is we want to be as strong as possible going into each set. We're trying to train for a little bit of strength here. And with each exercise we do, I'll show you about 2 to 3 variations for it, and you can pick which variation feels most comfortable for you. All right. I think we're ready to go. So we're gonna work through 3 sets of each exercise. I'm gonna give you this rep range between 10 and 20 reps is what I want you to shoot for. So you can land anywhere between 10 and 20. That's your goal. And what you want is by your last rep of the set, it should start to feel pretty challenging. Maybe your rep speed slowing down a little bit, the muscle is burning. That's kind of what we're looking for, but you still have good control and your form is good. All right, first exercise is just going to be, show you the easiest variation first. So we're just gonna be doing lunges. All right, so essentially what the lunge is you're just gonna be stepping back, going into this lunge, and then driving back up. So really we're utilizing the front leg is really the one doing most of the work here. So this is a pretty good functional movement. We all do lunges during the day. So that's what it looks like. Now, if you need to make it a little easier, you need a little bit more stability, you can have your chair. So if I'm gonna be working my left leg, it's nice to grab onto the chair with your right arm. So it will look like this. So I'm stepping back and then bringing my feet together. Stepping back, bringing my feet together. Now, if you can get all the way to the floor and touch that back knee down, fantastic. If you feel a little bit more comfortable doing more of a partial lunge, you can do that too. So it doesn't have to be all the way down. So this is one way that you can make it easier or harder. The lower you go, probably gonna be a little harder. More shallow, a little easier, all right? So that's the easiest variation, using a chair for some support. If you wanna make it a little bit more challenging, go without a chair. Another thing that I can do too, if I'm not using the chair, is I can grab some dumbbells. I can hold these in my hands and do the same thing. Or I can put my backpack on. Another way that we can load this, I can stick my backpack on my back, do the same thing if I need a little extra weight. All right, and then third, hardest variation. If you are a lunge master, you can actually elevate that back foot. So I'm just putting this back foot up on the couch, and then I'm getting really nice and low. So you can see I'm squatting down and I have a lot more range of motion with that back foot elevated. So that's a way you can do it to make it really hard, and you can always add weight to that variation as well. So those are our 3 variations. Find one that feels the best for you. Again, the goal is to land between 10 and 20 reps, and at the end of the set, have it be challenging. All right, let's do our first set. I'm going to show the easiest variation first. I'm going to start with my left leg. So I'm going to step my right foot back. So we're going to go for 10 to 20 on each leg. And I've just got this chair here for a little support and balance. And I am mostly trying to drive off the floor with that front foot. Back foot's just kind of there for balance. Good. Driving that floor away. Bringing my feet back together. Perfect. Once you get 10 to 20 on that leg, let's go ahead and we'll switch sides. So now I'm going to be using my right leg. I'm going to grab onto the chair with my right arm. So I start with my feet together, step my left leg back, and then drive up. Step my left leg back. Got my chair for support. And I'm thinking about driving that floor away with my front foot once I hit the bottom. So I've got my abs tight. My hips are level. So you can see as I drop down into this lunge, I don't have my hips kind of tilting on me in any direction. My chest is still squared up, facing forward. If you need a little bit of support from that other hand that isn't on the chair, you can always put that on your knee too if you feel like you need a little something extra. Perfect. So we got 10 to 20 in on each side. So those are our lunges. We're going to come back to those and do 2 more sets. Should probably be feeling it in your quads, so the front of your leg, maybe a little bit in your butt too, and kind of the side. Those are all normal places to be feeling this exercise. Next one we're going to go to is a push-up variation. So now we're going to use the upper body. So I'll start by showing you the easiest variation, which is going to be using a chair, maybe a couch or even a countertop if you have one right near you. What you're going to be doing is called an incline push-up, because I'm sort of inclined. So I'm going to have my hands on the edge of the couch or chair, my abs tight. I have a straight line from my shoulder down to my ankle. From here, I'm bringing my chest to the edge of that chair and then driving it away. Chest to the edge of the chair, driving away. See, my hips aren't sinking on me. I'm keeping my hips right to where I have, again, that straight line. So this is going to bring a little bit of core action into it too. You got to keep those abs tight to maintain the posture. Chest to the chair and drive up. So that's easiest variation. If you need to make it harder, you can go right down into a regular push-up. Right, so I'm gonna do the same thing, but this time I'm on the floor. And I've got a little more gravity working on me. But I'm keeping my torso and my legs nice and straight down to the floor and driving up. Okay, that's second hardest. If you need to make it even harder, grab your backpack, throw the backpack on. You can put however much weight in here that you want or need in order to land between 10 and 20 reps and have the set be difficult. And it's just the same thing here with a little extra weight. All right. So those are our push-up variations. So find one that you think you can do between 10 and 20 reps with, and let's try that out. So let's do our first set. I'm going to start with the easiest variation. I'm going with the incline push-up on the chair. Here we go, 10 to 20, whatever we can get. Nice straight body. Try to bring that chest to the chair if you can. If you got to go with a little bit of a partial range of motion, that works too. But I encourage you to pick a variation where you can use a full range of motion. Get a little more bang for your buck that way. Woo. Good. All right, so we've got one set of lunges down, one set of push-ups down. Let's take a quick break, grab a drink. And we are going to go back into lunges now. So we've had a little bit of a warm-up set. If you made it to 20 on your first set and it was easy, I encourage you to either add some weight with a backpack or try a harder variation. So either without the chair or your foot elevated, because we want to be between 10 and 20 once the set starts to get hard. All right. So I'm going to go with, I'll use dumbbells. I'm going to go with a little harder variation because I made 20 really easy on my, and I want to bring those reps down. So I'm going to start with my left leg. Let's go into our second set of lunges. Stepping that leg back, and then bringing the feet together, coming back to this standing position. Abs tight, hips are level. If you look at my hips here, this can kind of be like a level, this dumbbell. You can see they're not tilting. Everything's good and square. And I'm driving off of that front foot. So I get to the bottom and boom, push off the front foot. Push off the front foot. You want to go nice and slow on the way down. Don't let yourself just drop to the floor. Try to control it nice and slow. About a 1, 2, 3 count is probably good. All right, once we finish with one leg, go ahead, we'll switch to the other leg. So put my dumbbells down for a second. Let's go to the other leg. So good control on the way down. Everything's nice and tight. One other thing that you can do to modify this as well is the degree that you lean your torso forward. So the more you lean your torso forward, you use a little bit more of your hip. So you can see I'm kind of making this a little bit more hip dominant. If I keep my chest straight up and my torso straight up and down, I use a little bit more of my quads. So if you're having knee pain or you feel like it's too much for your quads, just lean forward and do the same thing with that torso lean forward. Whew. I'm starting to sweat. All right. Let's get a quick drink because lunges are hard. So that's 2 sets down. So now we're going to go back to push-ups. So same idea. If you made it to 20, easy on the first set. Try to make it a little more difficult. So I'm going to go from the chair down to the second hardest variation. I'm going to try a real push-up down here on the floor, or a full push-up. All right, so 10 to 20. Let's go for it. You can put your hands at whatever width is most comfortable for you. If it's shoulder width, great. If it's a little bit wider, that's okay. Wherever they feel the best. You may also, if you have wrist issues, go ahead and just use a fist. Put that fist down into the floor so that you don't have that wrist flexed. Sometimes that helps. So I'll show that when I do this variation. So let's go for our second set. Again, keep that torso and your legs nice and straight. Straight line from the shoulder to the knee. Don't let your hips drop. Push that floor away when you get to the bottom or chair. Woo! Done. Second set down. Take another break. So grab some water. And we have got one more set of these to work through. So it takes a little time here to recover. Try to be nice and strong for our last set. Whew. Okay. So this is our last set of lunges and push-ups. So try to make this set the right amount of difficulty. Remember, by the end of the set, you should be slowing down and muscles burning a little bit. So let's aim for that on this last one. We want to keep the form still good and under control. So your reps should look exactly the same as they do if you're doing an easier version or with lighter weight. All right. I think for the lunges, I'm going to do the hardest variation on this one. I'm going to grab my backpack for extra weight. I've probably got, I don't know, I would say 30 pounds in here. I've got a bag of rice and some books. And I'm going to elevate my foot. In fact, maybe I'll do it with the chair so you can get a better view on the camera. So here we go. Last set of lunges. We're going to go for 10 to 20 with both legs. And let's do it. Drive that floor away with that front foot, hips level. Everything stays nice and tight. I'm under good control as I'm lowering to the ground. Drive that floor away when you get to the bottom. Good. Whew. I finished up with my left leg. So I'm gonna go ahead, switch now to my right leg. Put my left foot up. And here we go. Try to keep breathing through this. Breathe out when you're pushing up. Breathe in on the way down. Woo! I'm feeling it in those quads now. Nice work. Whew. We'll grab a quick drink and break before we go to our last set of push-ups. Whew. It's a good thing I remembered to fill myself up with water today. I'm sweating pretty good. All right. Last set of push-ups. Going for 10 to 20. We want this set to be tough. All right. So pick your variation. I'm going with a little extra weight, and I'm going to go on the floor. Make this one hard. Still going to keep these under control, about 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. I'm not just dropping to the floor. All right, here we go. Last set. Try to push this one. Woo! All right. Made it. 2 exercises down. Set my backpack off to the side. We'll take another quick drink here, catch our breath. And we are going to pick 2 new exercises. So we'll have another lower body exercise, another upper body exercise, and we're going to do same format. We're just going to alternate back and forth here. But we'll take a little longer break. Take some deep breaths. Almost through the workout here. All right. So I'm going to introduce our next exercise. So this next exercise, it's a lower body exercise. Now we've worked a little more on the quads and the muscles that are involved with kind of moving the knee. Now we're going to work a little more on the hip. So with this exercise, just like in our warm-up, how we're hinging at that hip, trying to move right here. So you can see my spine stays nice and straight, and I move at my hips. That's what we're going to try to mimic with this exercise. So this is sort of like a kettlebell swing. If anybody's ever done a kettlebell swing, normally you're holding a kettlebell And what you're doing is you're swinging that kettlebell up. And you can see that I'm trying to, from right here, I'm really trying to push my hips forward. And it's the driving of my hips that are swinging the bag. So I'm not lifting the bag with my arms like this. I'm using momentum from my hips. So you can see I let it swing down between my legs. And then I drive my hips up and it swings forward. So I go hip hinge and then drive the hips and I straighten my body up into this straight line. And that's really what's swinging the bag. And then I just get a little bit of momentum where I continue to do this. So I push my hips back and then drive them forward. So it's all coming from the hip. So we got, I'll call them kettlebell swings, but they're actually, I don't know, toolbox swings. That's going to be our first exercise. So for this one, really the way that you can make this easier or harder is to add weight to your bag. Another thing you can do, so you can either use a bag and put weight in that, but you can also use a pair of dumbbells, right? So you do the same thing, but you've got those dumbbells in your hands like this. So you can see I'm moving at my hip. What I'm not doing is this. You can see how this is me just moving right here in my back. I actually want to move at my hip. All right, so that's going to be that exercise. So let's jump into our first set, and you may not know how much weight to use, so just kind of grab whatever you have available for your first set. You can add or take weight out of your bag or get heavier dumbbells for the next one. So again, we're going to go for 10 to 20. All right, let's do it. So bag swings between my legs, and then I drive my hips forward. You see, I try to get my hips bent to like 90 degrees. And remember that that bag should be swinging because of your hip momentum. Your arms are just noodles. Your arms are just hooked onto the bag, and they're just going for a ride with your hips. And if you can make it to 20, go for 20. Think about squeezing your butt at the top. I get to the top and I give my butt a good squeeze. Woo, done. Made it. Those will get you pretty sweaty. So let's set those aside for a moment. Then the next exercise, I'm going to use a chair because I like to do these seated. You can do these standing as well. So I'm going to get my dumbbells. And again, if you don't have dumbbells, use a couple of shopping bags with soup in them or water bottles, work great. What you're going to do is sit at the edge of your chair. You're going to put your dumbbells at your side, bend over, and then you're going to raise those arms up into a T. So you're trying to make a T with your body like this, but you're leaned over slightly. So I'm raising those arms up to the side into a T, back down nice and slow. Okay, so you can either do these seated, or you can do the same thing standing if I just kind of bend over and then come into this T. And I want to get a slight hold at the top if I can. I'm trying to push my chest out at the top, so I'm pulling my shoulder blades together, pushing my chest out, and then coming into that T and holding. All right? So this is another one that the way really to make this easier, harder, is just change the weight of your dumbbells. And again, we're trying to land between 10 and 20 reps. So let's go ahead. We'll do a set here. I'll give you a little side profile view. So I get leaned over, come into the T. And this one's really going to work kind of the back of the shoulder and kind of into your middle back. So really think about pulling the shoulder blades together and driving your chest out. This is a lot like a rowing exercise. We just have our elbows straight as opposed to bent. Woo! Does not take much weight. You can get away with pretty light weight on these, and it's pretty challenging. All right, got one set done of each of those. Let's get a quick drink. I'm just going to take a seat for a moment here. This feels good to sit. And we're going to go into a couple more sets. So we'll just keep working through these and we're almost done. So we have 2 sets of both of these left and we're finished. Okay. So let's go back to our kettlebell swings or our toolbox or backpack swings. So you can do these with a backpack too. Backpack works really good because they usually have this strap at the top that you can put your hands in. So I get my feet just about outside shoulder width, swing the bag between my legs, and then extend those hips. So let's do it. So adjust the weight if you need to make it easier or harder. Again, my arms aren't doing any of the work. It's all momentum of my hips. And I'm trying to basically do a little deadlift and then extend my hips. So you really should probably be feeling these in the back of your legs and your hamstrings and your butt. You may feel it a little bit in your lower back, and that's okay. Working the muscles in your lower back isn't going to kill you. Whew, all right. And once we finish that setup, I'm going to grab a quick sip. And let's just jump right back in to these. These are called bent over lateral raises. Because we're bent over, we're raising it laterally to the sides. So if your weight was too heavy on the first set and you couldn't quite make 10 reps, go a little lighter. If you made 20 and it was easy, you can go a little heavier. So I'm going to stick with the same weight. It felt pretty good for me. So I'm bent over, coming into this T. So again, pushing my chest out, pulling my shoulder blades together at the top, and making a T. Woo! Yeah, that one burns. Set those dumbbells off to the side. Okay, once we finish that up, we got one more set of each and we're done. So we're almost there. Let's take just a quick second and we're gonna go right back into those book bag swings. I might as well just call them book bag swings because that's what they are. And really focus on this one. Push your hips back, almost like you're trying to push your butt to the wall behind you. Sometimes that's a good cue for doing that hip hinge. It's like you're trying to take your butt, push it to the wall behind you, and then as you come forward, you're driving those hips forward. So drive those hips forward, and that should swing that bag up for you. All right, last set. We'll see what we can do here. Drive those hips forward. Maybe get a little stretch on those hamstrings when you're at the bottom. Perfectly normal. We'll put a little bit of force on the hamstrings. Get those nice and strong. I'm almost there. I'm feeling it. Feeling it in my glutes and my hammies. Woo, done. Good work. All right. We're going to come in here for our last set of bent over lateral raises. And then this is it, guys. We're almost there. So let's get a good 10 to 20 reps here. Try to get those arms all the way up to the top if you can. Get that chest out. Pull the shoulder blades back. like Superman showing off the S on his chest. That's kind of what you're trying to do at the top of that movement. All right, last one. Ooh, and like I said, that does not take a lot of weight for those to burn kind of in the back of your shoulders. All right. So once you finish that set up, we have done it. So you can grab a drink. And I'm almost out of water, so I timed my drinking perfectly for the workout. Whew. Take a couple deep breaths here. Right. Good. All right, let's go to a quick cool down stretch. So I'm going to have a seat on the floor for these. And I'm going to get my feet spread. Take my left hand and I'm going to come down to my right foot. We'll get a hamstring stretched here. And you can just focus on slowing that breathing down. And every time you exhale, think about relaxing the muscles more that you're trying to stretch. And we just want to push those muscles in the back of the leg to just where it's uncomfortable, not where it's painful. We're going to switch to the other side. Yeah. Good. And we'll go right hand to the left foot now. Just try to breathe here. Oh. It's always a good feeling when you finish up a tough workout. All right. Going to one more stretch here, and we'll try to stretch the hips a little more. So there's two ways to do this. It's called a pigeon stretch. I like to do it this way, but this way is a little harder if you don't have the mobility. So I have this kind of leg out in front of me, and I'm just going to sort of come over the top of it like so. So it looks like this. And then I can kind of get down onto my elbows. It gives me a really good stretch in that hip. All right, that's one way we can do this. If you have trouble with that, you don't quite have the mobility, which it's okay if you don't, that one's a little tougher, is you can just lay back and just bring that leg up, basically do the same thing, but it's out in front. So you can try to pull your foot up towards your head, and it'll give that hip a good stretch. So either one of these variations work. Deep breaths. Just holding that hip to where it's just a little uncomfortable, not painful. Good, and let's go ahead and we'll switch sides. So now I'm gonna bring that other leg out in front, and I'm gonna come over the top of it. Or you can lay on the back and try to bring that ankle up towards your head. Whew, all right. Nice work, everybody. Give yourself a pat on the back. Another tough workout. And I'd like to thank you all for joining me. And again, if you've got any suggestions for future workouts, please let us know. Leave a comment in the chat. And tomorrow night is a HIIT workout, so a little bit more of a cardio-based workout with Jamie at 6 o'clock. 6:30? 6 o'clock. 6. Okay, I'm getting confirmation it is 6 o'clock. All right. So 6 o'clock tomorrow if you're looking for another workout. And thank you guys. Looking forward to seeing you again in the future. Have a great night.